All right, almost ready. Just pulling up one more thing. Put the side cam on. And we're good. Here we are. Thank you so much for being here. Sorry about the delay in getting started. Of course, another interesting day in the market. GameStop's down a little bit. First thing I want to start off by saying, I kind of want to just go through some things. r/DRS your GME has been banned from Reddit. Supposedly, they repeatedly violated Reddit's moderator code of conduct. Really? Let's see that. So I don't know anything about Reddit's management. I honestly don't even really know much what's going on, like with the protests. Somebody actually tried to explain it to me. I asked them, and basically they said it made it so that if you're a third party, like scraping data and stuff like that, it's going to be a ridiculous amount of money. Or I don't even know exactly, right? I don't know, but a lot of interesting stuff going on Reddit, and then suddenly this just happens. And it's also after that interesting post I saw about shares on the ledger and the amount of shares in a Seed & Co account, and then there's a second Seed & Co account on the ledger representing the shares, and then there's the directly registered names for the individuals that went and saw it. I mean, this is what I saw in the post, right? And basically, two of the accounts were Seed & Co, and one pretty much had all the shares, and then there was like one small account with like a couple 10,000 or something like that, couple tens of thousands, something of that nature, maybe just even like 7,000. I don't remember exactly, but point is, that seems like the account, right? And I'm just theorizing here, and this is completely what I think, and take it with a grain of salt. But maybe that second account is the account used when shares get lended back to Seed & Co in times of high volume, which the heat lamp theory pretty much discusses. And I think it's interesting that r/DRS your GME disappears, but who knows? Maybe the moderator is doing something right. I have no idea. I don't follow the specifics, but it's just interesting, and that's what that post said. So just some thoughts there. But let me hit the chat. Really, thank you guys so much for being here. Always appreciate you guys. Let's go. Who's here? Ken, what up? Dope Show, Fresh Maker, what up? Jackson's, hello. Evening, gentlemen. Big day tomorrow. Yes, shareholder meeting. Let's go. There he is. Yes, sir. Wendy, what up? Thank you for being here. Connor Nee, hello. How are you? Good to see you. Do you think any important news will be said at the meeting, like buybacks or possibly dividends? Honestly, Connor, I don't think so. I feel like a buyback would have been shown in some shape or form in the 10Q, but it's definitely still possible as far as I'm aware. So I'm not saying it's a complete impossibility. And I would say a buyback would be more likely than a dividend. But at the same time, I don't really see either of them taking place right now. I think the company wants to be at a place where they're consistently turning a profit before they issue dividends or even start buying back stock. And just the threat of them buying back stock makes it almost like a weapon of theirs, if that makes sense. And like when they actually do it, it's gonna be like, oh shit, this stock is a liquid, the price is going up. That's kind of my viewpoint on it. But again, this is just what I think, and we would have to see what the message would be if something like that were to happen. I'm sure there'd be some explanation with it, but I think those things will happen down the line. That's my thought. I think it's going to take a little bit more time, and as growth really pushes ahead, then these things really start to like take place right before our eyes. Wen Moon, Sean Annan, thank you for being here. But you know what they say, tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying. Yes, sir. Good to see you. Low evening, sir. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. To stay zen. But the hype. Exactly, Ken Dingle. Exactly. Honestly, Ryan Cohen buying shares. $10 million, $10 million worth. Oh, that reminds me. I wanted to go through some tweets tonight, actually. And first off, Ryan Cohen. Let's check that out. Hoboken. Why is that trending? What is it? GameStop NFT. Dash do a roll. So I wanted to show something here, then I'm going to show Ryan Cohen's tweet. So they're starting to post stuff. Dice Eyes or Pixel Mustache. It's funny the stuff they say in the GameStop hat. But always, like GameStop stuff if you can. That's what I was trying to do, and try and vote on it. Because, always support the company. But they're posting a lot about, I don't even know how to say it yet, honestly, guys. It's Alluvium. Someone wants to help me out here. And I need to look at this. I haven't had a chance to grab it yet, so I still got to do that. Perfect. Is that what I have open here? I don't even know. But that's one thing I got to get caught up on. And another thing, well, all right, so I'll have to do that later. But another thing I want to show is Ryan Cohen's tweet. Ryan Cohen's my dad. Funny. So, not for long was tweeted June 7th. And that's when Matt Furlong was gone. But did that mean like he was, because he bought shares this day, did that have anything to do with it? I don't know. Maybe he was saying not for long until we buy shares. So it's terrible. Gastro once told me it's a terrible mistake that people often mistake kindness for weakness. So does that have something to do with it in terms of how it played out? Maybe. I don't know, honestly. I think it could mean anything. It really, like his tweets, I think you really should take them with a grain of salt. And that's what Larry Chang said in the CNBC documentary. He was like, honestly, people read too much into our tweets. Me and Ryan wish they didn't. That's what he sort of said. So that was kind of interesting. But is it accurate that executives who purchase shares of their company must hold their position in the stock for at least 6 months before selling? Low, I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head, but this is why I got my handy dandy friend here, ChatGPT, to help me out in these spots. So, does an executive who purchased shares have a required holding window? So yeah, I don't actually know this off the top of my head. I believe they do. The existence of required holding window for executives who purchase shares depends on various factors, including the company's policies and regulatory requirements that may be applicable. Let's say, what are the regulatory requirements? Let's see. Regulatory requirements regarding holding periods for executives who purchase shares can vary depending on the jurisdiction, applicable securities laws. Okay. Yeah, so it seems like it's pretty much set forth by the company, but I don't think GameStop even has to honestly worry about that. But that's something I'd have to look a little bit more into. See, this gives me like a start, an idea, a quick overview. So I'm not saying ever use ChatGPT as like, oh yeah, this thing knows all type of deal. It just, to me, I call it like an assistant because it just helps you like kind of source information to start. Connor Nee was wondering if he meant the stock price not for long. I was kind of thinking that potentially, Connor. I mean, it's kind of, but at the same time, I don't know. He's just, I feel like he likes the idea, or he thinks like, if I tweeted this, could it have a lot of meanings? Yes. All right, I'm going to tweet it. Like, I don't know. I almost feel like he thinks like that, but that makes sense. Shoot, where did I just lose my spot? Oh, I also got to get charged up here. Laptop's going to die. GameStop's real problem is that outside of the Christmas season, its stores aren't profitable, and they obviously whiffed with NFTs. There just isn't a good path to profitability. Cohen seems lost here. Pete, thank you for being here. Honestly, I don't think that's the case. I think NFTs are stained in terms of the name, and what they built with the marketplace is just the start of everything they're doing. And I really think it's about digital assets in the form of NFTs, but they'll just be called assets or in-game items still, and it'll actually be an NFT, but people won't be describing it as an NFT. That's my perspective on it. So I think that's what's going to take place with them launching GameStop Player. I think it's going to be a part of it. I think there could be streaming involved. Oh, that's something I also wanted to look at, the patents for G America as well as Teddy. There's some speculation there, but that's a whole other topic. And overall, you're right. Christmas is their strongest time, and without a good Christmas, they won't be the best business right now. But the transitions they're making are getting them there. So I honestly feel like the numbers showed as well. SG&A being reduced, I think it'll continue to reduce. They're trying to focus more on higher margin items. If you look what they did in Milan, Italy with their store, I think we'll see more stores like that. So there's a lot of things in the works. And overall, I think their balance sheet is strong and they're going to get themselves into a position very, very soon where they're not going to be losing money. And with a strong balance sheet, they're going to be able to make business moves and deliver shareholder value through acquisitions, new business ventures, repurchase of shares, dividends, things like that. And insiders buying a lot of shares, I think overall is very bullish. If you look at the Walmart family that owns it, or the beneficiaries that are in the family name, they just sold a ton of shares. Pretty much the same time GameStop insiders just bought a ton of shares. So show me another company with insiders buying the same way GameStop are. And that's my general quick, I would say, 1 minute rundown. Only if they hold a huge amount like Ryan Cohen. Uh, I IIRC off BBY situation. Thank you for answering. I am, of course. IIR off BBY situation. Craig, I'm not sure what you mean, but thank you for being here. Um, Honestly, I think the Bed Bath and Beyond situation, if you watch in the documentary, the way it was described is simply not how it was. I think he went in there, he had some ideas, and they didn't agree, and they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to execute. And Morantz has talked about this on his channel, where it seems like private equity was really in control there, and that seems to be what was happening. So you could go watch his videos on that. He explains it very well. And I think he just said, okay, well, sorry, it doesn't work out. And you don't just blindly follow an individual and everyone says, oh, well, just because everyone believes and loves Ryan Cohen and believes him so much, they'll just do anything he says. They just blindly follow him. Oh my gosh, he's doing insider trading. It's like, no, individuals are still individuals, make their own decisions. And that's, I feel like, part of his ideology and how he is. And that's how what I think he would think. And if you read the children's books, or you look at the children's books from Teddy that were launched, I've seen some of them on Twitter, and a lot of what he says is like, think for yourself in kids' terms. If that's how what I kind of took away from it, and educational books. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm kind of touching on several different topics there. The shareholder meeting will be a call. Is that correct? And they can cancel the call if they want. Connor Nee, I do believe it's a call because it's online now. It was funny. The first earnings call, or sorry, the first shareholders meeting after everything that happened that 2020 summer, or sorry, 2021 summer. Apparently there was like a ton of people there. They mentioned that in the CNBC documentary. So it used to be like 3 or 4 people that showed up, and now there was like thousands, which I thought was like pretty funny. But obviously they wanted to move it online now because they don't want a gazillion people coming, and it's nice for people like myself and you, most likely, or whoever, to be able to just watch it online instead of going all the way to like Grapevine, Texas, or wherever it is. So I think they have to have it though. I don't think they can cancel it. I'm bullish on the shareholder meeting, but do you believe any kind of announcements will not be not be made tomorrow, as it may be construed to an insider trading with the recent board member buy-ins? Honestly, I don't know. I feel like they're like the nature of GameStop and how they've been on the reports. I feel like the shareholder meeting is going to be pretty simple, and just maybe we'll see a little bit on Web3. That's kind of what I'm looking for, but I don't think they're going to do too much. Ryan Cohen is the kind of guy. Cards are close to his chest. You're never going to know what he's holding. So, especially with him CEO and chairman now, he pretty much has the largest control. And the GM is like a lawyer, from what I understand, or he went to school to be a lawyer. Obviously, he's GM and he's not just like the company's lawyer. But point is, I feel like somebody whose background is in law understands like confidentiality and keeping your cards close to your chest. So the GM is probably not going to say anything. Ryan Cohen's probably not going to say anything. So I'm almost like theorizing right now, just as I'm speaking out loud here. Probably not too much to come out of it. That's my general thought. I think that Ryan Cohen means by not for long is that he won't be CEO for long, and they'll be looking for someone else. I think it could be very possible for Freshmaker. The question is who though, and what happened with Furlong. That's what I'm wondering. Unless Furlong is something to do with Teddy. And I've seen, a little bit of conflicting stuff where people are like, oh, well, it was a 2-year term, so it was up. But it also says elsewhere that he was terminated. So little bit confused there. I've seen a little people go back and forth on that a little bit. I watched a Richard Newton video. I forgot exactly which one. I've been trying to watch some of his stuff here and there just to get his perspective, and he's good. You guys should also check him out talking about GameStop. And he was describing it where, oh no, I completely lost my train of thought. Basically, the term, it said terminated. So overall, it did, like, he was like let go from the company. And if you look at his offer letter, right, that's actually public information. I should be able to pull that up. Let's see. Matthew Furlong offer letter. So yeah, I think you're right. I think there's gonna be a new CEO soon, or soon eventually. It's just how soon do you consider soon, or do I consider soon, if that makes sense. Um, Matthew Furlong has an appealing offer for ex GameStop CEO. Clown. GameStop. Let's see. They have. I know it's public. I don't know exactly where it is. Not authorized. What? Oh, because he's not there anymore. They removed it. It's kind of funny, actually. But maybe at the end of the day, the job just wasn't getting done, because when you look at what he said, I tried to listen back to his interview with Toast, at Toast, the GME DD guy. It was interesting that he said, hey, why didn't you become the CEO? A lot of people were speculating on that. And Ryan Cohen said, well, I saw how much work it was with Chewy, and I don't know if I could do that again. You know, it's just exhausting. You have to be there 24/7. You're the center of everything. You're the core of the business. I wanted to be in a position where I had control, but I didn't have to go through that again. Something obviously changed where he wanted to go through that again now. So it's very interesting. And then the question, of course, becomes who would be the next CEO? I feel like it'd be something, or someone rather, we completely don't even know. And Ryan Cohen obviously would trust him. And maybe it's not that the person's completely unknown. It's just, it wouldn't be somebody we expect. That's my prediction. But because I don't think he'll be the CEO for like next 5+ years or something like that. But I could see him staying as CEO for a couple of years, honestly. But let's see what the volume was today. I haven't really been paying attention to the volume too much. I'm a huge fan of GameStop staying quiet about everything. Like when he was with Chewy, they did no PR. Were very quiet until they became a huge market share. Yeah, I think you're right, Connor Nee. I think it's a great point, because also in that CNBC documentary, you know, as stupid as it was, it did make me think of some things, or they brought up some perspectives. So that's why I'm glad I watched it, honestly, or at least I've taken something away from it, and also just to be in touch with things, because obviously my whole channel is all about GameStop. So I feel like anything GameStop out there, I want to be able to talk about it and understand it, right? So what they were saying is, or maybe it was like a segment on Larry Chang. I forgot exactly how it was brought up, but it was in the documentary where they're describing the fact that Chewy didn't want PR, or Larry Chang's like, my time with Chewy, like the goal was, or maybe it was a member of Chewy. I forgot exactly who, whatever. Somebody saying our PR strategy was no strategy. We didn't want Amazon to catch on to what we were doing. And that's like what they said. So that's a very interesting ideology. And if you look at what GameStop's doing, I think it's also pretty savage. Ryan Cohen's like, yeah, you know what? We're about to fire the CEO and just fuck it. We'll just cancel the call too, and just let everybody see what they think about this. And in a way, the stock price dipped, which I guess, you know, it makes sense just outside looking in and just generally. And look at it now compared to then, right? We can pull up the chart here. And then what happens? Insiders get a chance to buy up shares at a discounted price. So, and then the GM also gets vested shares. I was trying to look into a little bit today, but I didn't really get a chance to look too much about exactly what it was. But a GM is also being compensated with shares now. Where is it here? SEC filings. So there's a new one out today. Just get the most recent. Or was it late yesterday? So many filings yesterday. Nope, that's Ryan's. Robinson Mark Hammond. So is direct ownership but it looks like it's through vesting. It says the shares represent restricted stock units and restricted shares issued to Mr. Robinson by the issuer, including 75,932 restricted stock units, which are scheduled to vest on various dates through July 1st, 2025, and 764 restricted units, or shares rather, which are scheduled to vest on May 3rd, 2024, each subject to his continuous service to the issuer through the applicable vesting dates. Okay, so yeah, I'd have to look into that. Or you know what I do sometimes? I go like this. It's also hard because I'll be honest, guys. I'm still getting started with the streaming stuff. So like, I'm trying to read things and think about the next thing I'm saying and analyze it in a minute. So I'm not always perfect, but so that's why I'll just be doing this. Or I should do this actually. Explain this in simple terms. In simple terms, Mr. Robbins has been given the shares of stock by the company he works for. However, the shares are not fully vested yet. They are called restricted stock units and restricted shares. This means that there are certain conditions he needs to meet before he can fully own and freely sell these shares. See, that's interesting. It's performance based, and I think that's a great thing to have in place for your general manager. There are two types of restricted shares: restricted stock units and restricted shares. Mr. Robinson has 75,932 restricted stock units and 764 restricted shares. These shares will become fully his on different dates. Some of them will become his by July 1st, 2025, and the remaining restricted shares will vest on May 3rd, 2024. Interesting. So it looks like most of them are going to actually be vesting in 2025. So seems like he's around for a while, and that makes me think: is Ryan Cohen planning to be CEO till somewhere in between there? Possibly. I don't know. That doesn't necessarily mean that just from seeing this, but just a quick thought I had there. However, Mr. Robinson needs to continue working for the company until the respective vesting dates. If he stops working for the company before those dates, he may not receive all the shares. So his ownership of the shares is tied to the ongoing employment with the company. Love to see it. And he's been with the company since like 2016, 2017, 2015, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's actually pretty good because Ryan Cohen came in and cleaned out a lot of the old people running the company as a whole. So if he decided to keep this guy, he must have saw something in him, and Mr. Robinson must like to work, and Ryan Cohen likes executives who like to work. So in my opinion, he likes this guy and he's a good candidate from the job, just looking at it from that perspective. But of course, that's from that perspective. So we'll obviously see what actually happens with the company. But I think Ryan Cohen right by his side is certainly beneficial to him as an individual. So that's definitely interesting. But there's another filing for him too, I think. Do people really think that GameStop kicked out Furlong and then rehire him for another position? You don't have to kick him out first. You could just lift him into a new position. That's a good point, Freshmaker. That's actually a really valid point. And I'm starting to lean towards the opinion. I mean, I've kind of been in between, I'll be honest. And I haven't really come to a true conclusion, but I like what you're saying. Like, that makes a lot of sense. And this is why I like doing these live streams. Because you're right. Why would they have to do that unless there's a specific reason or it's just to, psych up? But I don't know. That doesn't seem like how it would be. So it does kind of seem like that. And my thought is, if that's the case, then he must have either just not met the standard Ryan Cohen wanted, and that sends a strong message to the rest of the management team. Because you have to think, we're always talking about management team. We're talking about like Furlong, and we could talk about like the CFO. We could talk about the board, but we don't talk about like the head of each region, which is probably still relatively in touch with everybody at the top that I was just talking about, like Ryan Cohen now, especially. Okay, well, the chairman just fired the CEO and stepped in himself. Like, I better make sure I'm doing my job at top tier if I still want to be at this high position at this company. So I think it really just sends a message straight down the company. And not that that's going to be like, oh my God, that's going to make them profitable. But I feel like that's really just sends a strong message, and just operation efficiency improves. And then this is what I have to see here. So deposit code A. These shares represent restricted stock units issued to Mr. Robinson by the issuer. The restricted stock units are scheduled to vest on June 12, 2024, subject to continuous service of the issuer through the applicable vesting date. Okay, so it seems like, from what I understand, this is just all being signed into place now. It's not like he's getting these shares immediately, but they're vested over time as long as he's working for the company and continues to make the performance standards that are being set. Don't you think if Ryan Cohen was a placeholder CEO, they would have called him interim executive chairman? That's a fair point, Lo, but honestly, I don't think intern would be fair if maybe he's trying to do it for a couple years, right? I feel like that's not necessarily interim, and especially if you look at how many CEOs GameStop's had in the past 5 years. And again, it's another situation of maybe just keeping his cards close to his chest. But that is also a fair point. I mean, if he's all in with GameStop and this is really what he wants to do for the next 10 plus years, whatever it is, he's really young. You have to think about it. There's a lot of time left for him. So in business, and he talks about how his dad said, you have to just never stop and just always keep doing it, going and doing stuff. And honestly, I'm realizing that you have to always, keep your body going, keep your mind going. That's something I'm kind of just seeing from like people getting old around me and stuff like that, like somebody close to me. Um, yeah, so I feel like he has that ideology. So at the same time, is it impossible to see Ryan Cohen become the CEO for a long ass time? No. And is it a bad thing? I think hell no. And especially I think performance, will tell the story. And I think Ryan Cohen's going to bring a good performance. I think this guy likes to work. Like I think he's going to walk in there. Everyone's going to be like, all right, we better step up our game. But then they're going to see he's like there, like first there, last to leave, or maybe I'm exaggerating a little, whatever it may be. But they're going to be like, shit, this guy really he doesn't stop. And like I feel like when your boss just works so hard and you like him, and he seems like a likable guy, right? There's no reason to think he wouldn't be. Just, I mean, obviously that's a way biased opinion, but point being, when if you think about it, if you like your boss and you see them working your ass off, I feel like that's always the type of boss where I'm like, yeah, I have to always be on my game because I don't want to let them down. That's way worse than being like, oh, like I feel like that's also something that's modernized over time instead of how it used to be. Things were very like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the whole world's gotten very, very soft and there's, a lot of craziness going on. Whatever. That's not the point. The point is, you can be like, I don't know, like you can be assertive, but you can be compassionate. Like, no, like we need to make this standard, but I'm going to do everything I can to help you understand what's the best way you can do your job. How are we going to operate better? Give me all these different things. And honestly, the company I work for right now, like I'm happy there because they genuinely do have that in place. And I think like seeing how they do things, not that it's like exactly how GameStop does it, but it's a smaller operation than GameStop, obviously, and a completely different operation, completely different business. And I think it's just interesting to see how like a company where people actually like, communicate and they just do have things in place. It's not just like bottom line. I mean, obviously I don't know the executives exactly what they're doing. That's not even the point. Point being a well-run company from within and where you respect the people running the company, the employees just work better. And I feel like that like happy and my company, I feel like whatever. I don't want to keep talking about my job. Point is happy shareholders, happy clients, happy executives, happy employees. Like it all aligns under one. And that's also how I feel like companies are, like Apple, for example, just to give one random company, are capable of what they call vertical integration, where essentially, and I'll put it in ChatGPT here to give you a definition, and then I'll explain it. Basically, it's integrating different versions of business, right? And what do I mean by that? So what I think GameStop's trying to do is vertically integrate their core business with Web3. So there's stuff and experiences involved in the stores where they now are going to have GameStop Player, which is a client, and there'll be things about GameStop Player, rather, I would imagine, in the stores at some point, and they're going to try and kind of direct attention there the same way on the streams they'll advertise for coming to the store for events, and I think they're going to try and make it go hand in hand, and that's where the NFT marketplace, the GameStop wallet, are going to come into play, where they'll be the backbones of this GameStop Player, and to me, that's vertically integrating everything they're doing. Everything makes sense. It's not like, oh, they have something here, they have something there, they have this. They have everything vertically integrated. So it'd also be interesting to see in the future if they ultimately decide, hey, you know what? We want to own these distribution centers because it's more beneficial to us. Like if the math is mathing, so to speak, right? Like if they determine that's the best decision, which I wouldn't honestly know. I'm not super familiar with real estate. I know some general stuff, but if that's something they consider, for example, that's just another vertical integration in they own where they have the inventory. They own the stores potentially. But although leasing makes a lot more sense with the stores because a lot of them are in malls, shopping centers, things like that. So just some things to think about there. But vertical integrated business definition. Do you think the amount of synthetics and how hedge? Oh wait, I gotta. Damn it! I never go all chat on here. I'm sorry, guys, if I missed any messages before. Do you think the amount of synthetics and how under hedge funds are may be overblown a bit? Hedge funds play both longs and shorts to counterbalance any overleveraged risk they may have. I don't know though. Ready Player 259. Thank you for being here. I think that's a very valid question. Overall, allegedly, there's a heavy underlying short position, whether it's in a derivative, swap, here, there, up, down, left, right, circle, whatever. But I think overall, anything like that underlying is going to bubble to the surface over time. But I think you're absolutely right. Hedge funds have so much leverage. So I think the strategy for them, if they are truly deeply underwater in some shape or form, it depends how deep underwater and whatever your thought is, regardless, I think it all comes down to them playing the ride up, just the same way they're playing the ride down, and just the way you see GameStop close at max pain sometimes, where what max pain is for options is where the most calls and puts expire at the same time, worthless. So option sellers are majority hedge funds, market makers, things like that, or financial institutions, and then individuals or whoever's on the other side of the trade is losing money unless it closes in the money. But what I mean by that is, actually, I'll show you. It'd probably be way easier, and then I can explain it. Max pain, GME. So what it basically is the point where the most options expire worthless. That's the simplest way to put it. So right now, max pain for this week is 23.50. So could the price close at 23.50 this week? I mean, absolutely. We've seen crazier things with GameStop before. Look at the price action this week. Could it go higher? Absolutely. I mean, if it went above 30, a lot of calls are in the money. But I never look too heavily at this, honestly. And it's funny, there's so many way out of the money calls. They're just up there. But the most would be, see, right around here, or 23.50, right in between. But to go back, vertical integration is a business strategy, in case you weren't aware, is a business strategy where a company controls and operates multiple stages of the production or distribution process within a particular industry. It involves acquiring or merging with companies that operate in different stages of the supply chain, such as suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, retailers. By integrating vertically, a company aims to gain more control over its supply chain, reduce costs, improve efficiency, enhance coordination, and potentially capture a large share of the market. Vertical integration can be either backward integration, acquiring suppliers, or forward integration, acquiring distributors or retailers. So we'll see what GameStop does if they ever do acquisitions. I mean, they've talked about it, and I mean, they've mentioned it on the earnings call as something they're exploring, and I think they're only going to do it if it absolutely makes sense and it vertically integrates in their business the more I think about it. So we'll have to see on that. Ryan Sung, what up? Thank you for being here. What's good, brother? Tuning in at the gym. Hey, I'm happy, bro. You're always on the grind and then tuning into Tetron. That's what's up. Hi friends. My shares still safe. My VIX calls not so much. Live and learn. Exactly, Anthony. Exactly. Know thyself. I feel like when you trade, you always got to try and take some lessons away, and just figure out what you could do better next time, whatever it may be. But don't take that from me. I don't really trade, so I messed with it in the past, but definitely wasn't good at it. So definitely wish you all the best though. Any predictions for the meeting tomorrow? Honestly, not too much, Ryan Sung. I haven't even thought about it too much. I guess I was just so caught up in the earnings report and then trying to just get caught up on other things and life, whatever, work, whatever else it may be. And I don't know. I don't think they're going to say too much. That's kind of my thought. I think they're going to touch on Web3 a little bit. It'd be awesome to hear them talk about stuff, but at the same time, I really like how they do things where it's like, nope, our cards are close to our chests. You're not going to know what's going on here. So I don't think there's going to be too much coming out of it, really. But it would be certainly exciting to see, hey, we're going to buy back shares over the next couple quarters with the 100 million we have. I mean, that's such a minimal amount compared to their balance sheet. But I also feel like they should keep that in their back pocket where just the threat of them being able to repurchase shares is pretty threatening if you're on the other side of the trade or you're just betting against the company in any shape or form. So I feel like they also have that tool in their back pocket, so to speak, and they could always expand that. That would be something exciting to see if they announce, okay, well, we're going to expand the $100 million that's left capable to repurchase shares. Because a lot of times I've seen on Twitter people like, oh, GameStop still has 100 million to repurchase shares, like, and every earnings report it's like a bullet point. I'm like, that's like always there, that's been there for like a long ass time. It's just left over from a really long plan. But what they can do is like readopt the plan to be extended, or they can implement a new one where they might be like, hey, we've implemented a new plan where we're capable to repurchase up to $500 million of our stock through 2025. And that might mean they still don't repurchase stock for another year, but then it would be within their company's guidelines. So when the moment comes where they're like, hey, our stock's undervalued and we're profitable, then they could be like, okay, we have to pull the trigger. And then the next earnings report, we would find out through the cash flow statement showing the repurchasement of shares. So I think that would be exciting, but I don't think they want to repurchase shares until they're fully profitable, fully rocking and rolling. And then I think repurchase shares and then dividends. And what time frame for those? I truly have no idea. I truly have no idea. A new distribution center to expand the online assortment. That would be pretty awesome, Freshmaker. It would be. And I really think, maybe owning the distribution centers. I'm curious maybe why they don't own them at this time, but also, that's probably a big financial commitment. You can't just like snap your fingers and do that. So as things roll on, will that be something we kind of see? And I would be cool if they maybe, let's say like 5 years from now, they start acquiring brands like Turtle Beach, like a Funko, I don't know, anything random like that. I think that'd be kind of cool. And if GameStop really does launch streaming with GameStop Player, that's going to be really sick. And I'm 100% going to stream on there and check it out. Because seeing what's happening with Twitch right now, I don't even really, again, I don't follow this stuff too much. So I don't even really know exactly what's happening in Twitch, to be honest with you. So I'd have to look into it. But I see even this guy Ninja, who's like one of the biggest ones, is like tweeting about it. Someone's like, you're going to leave. He's like, maybe, like, that's crazy. So Twitch seems like they're shooting themselves in the foot by being greedy. It seems like that's the short of it. And seeing all this craziness going on right now with like Twitch, it's like such a golden opportunity and such actually great timing. Without GameStop probably even meaning it for it to be great timing for GameStop Player to launch streaming, even if it takes still another couple months. I mean, come on, that's crazy. The timing of it, that now all this garbage is happening with Twitch, and obviously GameStop Player has been built and theorized for a long time from within. There's no way they can build this whole platform. I mean, whatever it comes out to be, whatever it is, it obviously will have taken like months and months and quarters. So, do you think the earnings are too reliant on big game releases and holidays? Ryan Sugg, I don't think so. I think definitely big game releases and console cycles are always going to boost them. So I guess it's fair to say a little bit of yes, and obviously holidays. I think retail in general and just nature of their business, it's always going to be that way. So yeah, I guess yes, but I don't see them staying in that form, like as that being the long-term goal, or like, oh, we're always going to be a seasonal business. I think the idea when they say, oh, we're going to become a technology business, like, hey, in 2030, things will be a little more balanced. But I think Q4, as long as they always have physical locations and e-commerce and just selling items, like if they're even if most of their business by 2030, right, is Web3 and everything online, if they still have physical locations in e-commerce, Q4 is always going to be the most popular just because it's like the time of a lot of gift giving and stuff like that. And you also have to think about, even if it is digital mostly their business, now I'm starting to think it might always kind of be, based around Q4 being the strongest, because then people will be giving digital gifts, and who knows what people will be doing in freaking 2030. Think about how fast AI has moved just this, like, half a year. What is it? I don't even know. Since ChatGPT launched, everybody's like, AI, AI. Our company's doing AI. Our company is launching AI. Our company is working closely on AI. Every single freaking earnings call out there, they're saying this. It's hilarious. Like, I saw some stat about how many times it's been mentioned quarter over quarter, and it's blown up this quarter. It's hilarious to me. Um, it is definitely very interesting though, and when you just think about the fact Google is what, like 20 years, 20 something, just over 20 years old. Imagine 20 years from now technology. So I think GameStop is trying to, get ahead. So the curve is, exponential with technology. So they're trying to move quick and hop on the horse, because also something Ryan Cohen talked about when getting involved is like, he was there and it was like years and years of underdevelopment. So they had to catch up with things like retail technology. While that's nothing, remarkable, which I've said before, SAP technology, it's still helpful. Like, let's see, explain SAP retail technology. SAP Retail refers to solutions and technologies provided by SAP specifically designed for the retail industry. SAP offers a range of integrated software modules that help retailers streamline their operations, manage their supply chain, improve customer experience, and make data-driven decisions. Point of sale, merchandising assortment, supply chain management, customer relationship management, business intelligence analytics, omnichannel retailing, back office operations. By leveraging SAP retail technology, retailers can improve operational efficiency, optimize inventory management, enhance customer engagement, and drive overall business growth. These solutions are designed to meet the specific needs and challenges of the retail industry, helping retailers stay competitive in a rapidly evolving marketplace. So yeah, that's a quick summary there. And if you guys want to read a little more about it, I'm just going to take a quick water break. And also, I just realized I never tweeted out the stream. Absolutely classic. Give me a moment here. All right, back in business. Damn, I'd be getting dehydrated when I just start ranting and ranting and ranting. But really, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this back, much appreciated. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so I don't know if everyone saw my. I actually tweeted about r/DRS your GME being banned. Like, I just think it's interesting, And I want to honestly just keep trying to cover GameStop. Obviously, that's kind of become the goal of my channel, and I just keep trying to tweet more, because I feel like Twitter is the best place for financial communication of people just talking stocks and talking business, money. I think it's interesting, and honestly, it's my favorite social media right now. That's just me, and that's why I really just focus on that besides YouTube. And obviously, I love YouTube, but yeah, wait, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so r/DRS your GME. So I tweeted about that, and I just been trying to tweet out information covering GameStop, because what I'm trying to say is I don't see anybody on Twitter really. I mean, of course, when I say anybody, I mean there's no like analysts or anybody actually legitly covering GameStop stock, and I think it's a cool idea to just really cover a stock, and obviously that's what I'm doing here. And in the future, I want to just really in depthly cover a few stocks. And when I say in the future, I mean like years down the line, when I feel comfortable and like fully aware of another company the way I do with GameStop. Like, I look into other stocks, like I read other numbers, because I'm curious also what are the other businesses doing different to GameStop. And I don't think you can be closed minded. And if you're just in GameStop for GameStop, I think that's totally fine. And I'm not saying I'm out here buying these other stocks at all. I'm just reading about them and trying to understand, and also, help people I know, like, oh, like my IRA account, like, so I look into like an ETF, right? Or like a mutual fund for like family members, something like that, So try to become familiar with things, but the long-term goal of Tetron, talking like, I want to be doing this for a long time. So to say 2030, like I was talking about, GameStop's rocking and rolling. I fully got it down, and I start, I have a couple other names. I'm like, oh, this is, I'm Tetron. I cover these stocks, and then I talk the market as a whole because I'm also just trying to keep in touch with the market. And when you look at Yahoo Finance cover page, it's always kind of a good place to start. They didn't raise rates today. It seemed very unlikely they were gonna. There's going to be 2 more rate hikes later this year. That's basically what Powell said. And he was asked about, like, hey, there's going to be more debt and it's going to cost a lot. And our debt is looking like it's going to keep ballooning. What do you think about that? He's like, that's not my job. My job is to be the Fed chair. I'm like, damn. So the Fed, and it's kind of proving Bull's thesis behind the dollar endgame, where the Fed just just keep running up the printer to pay for everything and pay off the catastrophe that's going on. And I mean, that's his thing, and that's a whole different topic as well, the dollar end game. But he basically said, yeah, we're an independent, right? Not influence entity. And I mean, he is raising rates. I think there's probably been worse chairs. There's probably been better. And he is in the most unprecedented time. Like, I've kind of gone back and forth with how I feel about Powell. And I'm not saying, like, oh, yeah, I loved him at one point. I'm saying I've gone back and forth in terms of how legit is he, or like how much how much of it is actually kind of sort of making sense, or how much of it is like completely BS. You know what I mean? It's like a little BS, a lot of BS. So it's definitely a tough time, though. I mean, who could manage, like, it's just an unprecedented time with inflation and the amount of debt, and just a problem that's been long ballooning with the fractional banking system. And when you make the reserve ratio 0 and you just put an insane amount of monetary policy into the system like that, these things start to happen over time. So we'll see what happens. And seeing Tesla here, by the way, which I recently looked at, also vertically integrated. I have a friend at work. Shout out to you if you're watching this. Big homie. He's always talking to me about Tesla, and he's shown me a lot. And he's like, yeah, they're very vertically integrated. They just keep making things simpler so they can grow their margins and just remain so ahead of the game in terms of pricing. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of what GameStop's trying to do in a sense. They're trying to, cut in terms of costs and just operate more and more efficiently. And things like retail technology, a guy like Ryan Cohen in place, allow those things to kind of happen over time. Let's see. Again, the first part of my message not showing up on your side. Trash YouTube chat. Damn, Freshmaker, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm always trying to go back and forth. So I always apologize, guys, if I miss a chat. I'm really never trying to. Patience is key in the saga. How do you stay patient and recover from burnouts? Ryan, honestly, I try and not just keep pushing when I can. That's what I've found recently, if that makes sense. I try and just kind of keep up with things, but if I'm just like, you know what? Like, if I'm just chilling with my girlfriend, I'm like, I'm not gonna just research for the sake of researching. Like, just go to bed. Like, I try not to. But if something comes over me, I'm like, oh, I gotta know about this. Just start, going into it late at night after she goes to bed. I'm like, whatever, I gotta figure this out. But overall, I'm actually trying to, like, just listen to my body and, like, how I feel. You gotta feel like how feel yourself out as an individual, I feel like. And it's something I'm kind of discovering over time, but I'm no mastermind on this at all. But, everyone's, like, on their own journey. So you have to just, if it means not even looking at stock for a few days, I feel like that's a good thing. Sometimes for me, it means don't even look at the chart. And also sometimes there's been periods where I also unfortunately feel like this has made my streams weaker, where the times I wasn't staying as much in touch with everything. And most of my staying in touch, it was reading stuff live on the stream. But also, I don't think that's a bad thing. Live, just kind of, oh, I'm reading about this, covering this, talking about what's being talked about here. So I do want to try and, take breaks here and there, but as long as I'm feeling good, I'm always gonna be rocking and rolling. But, I think it's know thyself, and that's why, you do the long term, and when you invest and you don't trade, because you don't have to worry about a period of time where you're like, oh, like, if your head gets cloudy. To me, it's like, okay, well, just don't do anything if your head's cloudy. That's kind of become my new perspective. If your perspective's cloudy, don't do anything. It's better to do nothing, because you might irrationally sell or you might irrationally buy, then be like, oh, why did I do that? So know thyself. I guess that's the short answer to that. But patience is absolutely key. Absolutely no doubt about that. And sometimes it feels like the saga's been like a year, or sometimes it's felt like it's been like 5 years, right? Like, I don't know. I kind of go up and down like that. And then I'm like, no, it's been like, like 2.5 years. So, right? 2.5? Yeah. January 2021. Yep. So, and what happened with Bitcoin? I don't know why this is dropping. Kind of curious on that. I want to check that real quick. And it's really interesting, SEC suing Coinbase, going after Binance. To me, all this stuff happening right now is no accident. That's just my opinion. It's too coincidental in the timing, and if there's anything I've learned over the past several years is there's always a rhyme or reason, or there's just so much we don't know. So there's a reason it's happening, and maybe I don't know it, but exactly. But something's happening, right? So after Fed decision, let's see. Let's waste my time on a silly article. Another crypto declining after the Federal Reserve's decision to pause interest rates. Digital assets may be particularly vulnerable to the central bank's projection of a higher nominal terminal rate this year. Okay, so this is the beginning of a crypto ice age. I love Yahoo Finance comments. I forget about them, but every once in a while I read them. They're hilarious because there's just so few people I feel like actually commenting on Yahoo Finance. I should do it. I should hop on as Tetron. You guys can catch me in the GME comments. We should look at them honestly for fun. But I don't think this is why Bitcoin dropped. Just a big trade or crypto is just going to do crypto, right? So I'm never even going to think about that too much. I don't think it's actually, maybe it's the Fed kind of, I don't know. I think that dramatic on it. Because like I said, it was pretty priced in that there was going to be no interest rate hike this time. And the Fed said, okay, well, we're going to do 2 more later this year. But that means rates are going to be at like 6%, right? What is the true federal funds rate right now? Is it exactly 5.5? I forget. What is the federal funds rate? Really, thank you guys for being here, for real, for real. The current. I want to get the exact. Because I know it's like 5. Okay, as of June 15, 2023, 5 to 5.25%. So if we get 2 more hikes of 25 basis points each respectively, we're at 5.5 to 5.75. So that's pretty high. I mean, it's pretty nutty to me that I can earn 4.7% in a money market account on Fidelity right now. Because they're then turning it around, and that's just on the federal funds rate, right? So if you look at T-bills right now, so you look at the 10-year treasury, or sorry, the 2-year, I don't know, just look at treasuries. Isn't it just on here? But you can earn almost 6% at this point. So Fidelity's turning around and then able to make money with the funds like that. So some people ask, I'm like, you could put money in a money market account. You could put money in a high yield savings. People are like, well, maybe it's a scam because like people my age would think about, or not scam that they're necessarily saying that, but people my age, I've grown up in a time where there's never been interest rates. So people managing their money at my age right now, not a lot of people even understand that you can earn a decent amount of return on just liquid cash in a high yield savings account like Ally Bank. You can earn about 4%. And it's not a scam. It's not a crypto. It's a FDIC bank. And I'm not advocating for Ally Bank. No free ads, of course, on Tetron. I only advocate for Tetron. But my point is, you want to do the most you can with your money. So if you have an emergency savings, wouldn't you want it to accumulate a little bit so you can earn 4% in Ally savings? Because then you can turn it around, or they can take the money, turn it around, and earn like over 5% through a T-bill. And they could be short-term bills generally, especially right now. That's what banks want. It's the highest yielding. And in an environment where it's uncertain, where interest rates might keep rising, banks don't want long-term 10-year treasury bills on their balance sheet. That's why the Fed is selling these short-term craziness of like 1 day until they mature, 7-day maturity, 3-day maturity. I saw like, is that all real? Like, it's crazy. Damn it, markets. Let's see. Highest open interest. Let's see. I don't even know how to navigate Yahoo Finance though, to be honest. Can I just look up like 10-year? Or is it going to be here? Trending tickers, mutual funds, currencies, futures. Nope. Trying to give me options, of course. Yeah, okay, 10-year treasury yield. Let's see. And also, keep in mind, we have an inverted yield curve right now. So look at this. You could literally earn more in a money market account than the 10-year note. So its interest rate has been rising, but then look at the 5-year treasury. It's a little bit higher. So we have a completely inverted curve. Look at the 13-week, 5.08%. So just in the federal funds rate. And then I think 6 months, right? I'm going to look at 26-week. Nope. Let's see. I guess then if I just keep clicking these, it'll pop up. But or we could just look it up. Treasury bills prices. Or not treasury bills. Just go to Treasury Direct, the source itself. T-bills. Well, yeah, treasury bills. Let's see, treasury bills. Oh, wait. Is that yield? Oh, perfect. USA yield curve. This is what I want to show you guys. So this is it right now. The longer term treasuries pay less than the short term. So I'm sorry, you can't earn 5 point something percent. You can earn just pretty much above the federal funds rate. But the fact that you can't put money into long term treasuries and earn more than the federal funds rate just shows you where things are at. And nobody wants cash locked up for the long term. So almost literally nobody, I'm sorry, is buying these down here, these treasury bills. So just something to think about. And also just an environment we'll continue to be in. And that's why having a strong balance sheet is so important, because if you're taking a long-term debt, the interest rate is not going to be low. So you want to have short-term liquid cash that can earn you money. That's huge. Or you can put it into a 6-month or a 1-year treasury bill and make good returns, or a bank CD. You might earn a little bit more. Or what was it? Not a money market deposit. There's another one too. A couple different options. GameStop specifically does U.S. Treasuries. So the fact that their treasuries are under the current assets and they're not accounted for in cash equivalents. So cash equivalents would be the 13-week ones or less. That means they are holding these ones here. It's probably these two, probably not this one. And that's the current yield. So a rate hike, it benefits GameStop in a sense. I mean, I don't think it benefits the business and it benefits consumer spending, but it benefits a strong balance sheet. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is strong balance sheet and a company that's profitable versus a weak balance sheet and a company losing massive amounts of money. And the higher interest rate, higher the interest rates become as a whole, the more the Fed hikes rates, the more I feel like the separation becomes of those two different types of stocks, because money will flow into names with strong balance sheets that are going to keep turning profits, whereas companies that are going to lose money have to keep raising debt, have to keep issuing stocks, issuing shares, and then potentially taking on debt at a high cost or a high yield or high payback price, high interest. They're just not going to be in good shape. So that's why GameStop turning profitable is a huge, huge X factor. They have the balance sheet. Now it's just about getting there. It's just about getting all the way there. And, they got to lose another couple hundred million in the next couple quarters. So be it, right? And I think that would really suck. I'm not going to lie. That's not going to be the most ideal. But what could it be in the future is going to be much greater. So I think if the cash flow does look like that, it could be the result of an acquisition spending. You have to keep in mind an acquisition would then make a one-time cost on it would be a one-time. Well, it depends how it's structured. If it's a one-time cost, you'd be significantly more negative in the cash flow, or significant swing lower in the cash flow, because you would be seeing in the investing portion the purchase or acquisition of X company. See, I'm looking forward, let's see. Patience. Oh, is there any update on why Dearest for your GME got banned? I'm not sure, Ryan Song. I think in terms of service, it says, what does it say? Pull it up here. Community was banned for repeatedly violating Reddit's moderator code of conduct. And then I pulled it up here. I didn't even read it though. And should I say, this is what I'm going to do for fun. So let's see if this works. Put it in ChatGPT and say, give me a short, come on now, a short and sweet summary of this. Let's see if we can do it. It's going to be a huge thing. It's going to make my computer lag. This stupid Surface laptop. Oh my gosh, that was actually fast. Damn. Cough, cough, AMC, cough. I'm looking forward to hearing Ryan Cohen's voice tomorrow. I think if there's no news tomorrow, the share price will slowly go down again in the next few months. Very well could be Freshmaker, but I'm not going to lie. I don't think it's a bad thing because at the end of the day, I'm just really looking at what the company's doing. And I'm looking at $20 like after earnings in the 20s where I was like, damn, I wish I bought that, honestly. So I just feel like if the price goes lower, it's just an opportunity to buy more. But at the same time, I'm not going to be frowning if the stock keeps going up, right? Or if it starts progressing. But if there is no news and, nothing's really changing, I can see the stock kind of just sitting in this range. But there's also the threat now that if the price is below 20 again, then you have directors that are obviously very willing to purchase shares. You have Larry Chang, who's already purchased shares twice this year. So that has to be in the back of the mind of anybody betting against the stock, aggressively shorting it, or whatever it may be, right? However the price is. So that's just something to think about. And that's just a general, I would say, like, I don't do, and what's it called? TA, technical analysis, but it might be what do they call it? A floor type of thing, or it might be a resistance level, so to speak, because now it's the market as a whole, right? Not that it's somebody like physically controlling the price each day, right? I mean, you could think of it however you want to think of it, and the market is crazy in how it works. But what I'm saying is the market, just stock markets, when you talk about markets, the markets are pricing in, or the stock prices it's just being priced in that if the price is below 20, then insiders could purchase. A lot of individuals start buying shares. Generally, buying starts happening at that point, and that's how you kind of just have a floor take place. Historically or outside of GameStop speaking, you might have a lot of bids in place. Who knows? There might be a lot of hedge funds or whatever it may be, market maker, financial entity of some kind that has bids in place for GameStop. So if it does go down to these certain prices again, then it starts to bounce off that floor. So just kind of something to think about. And, you're right. If there is no big news, though, it's probably not going to rocket out of here. So it'll probably stay in this like $20, $27 range, maybe in that little range there. I don't know. But who knows, right? That's always the best part about GameStop. You never truly know. News here. We got this there. Also, on the price is doing that. The price is doing up, down, left, right, sideways, circles. It's always doing something. What is an AMC? Exactly, Freshmaker. Exactly. Who? AM who? Adam who? Adam selling of shares who? The moderator, so let's read the little description of the moderator code of conduct of Reddit that supposedly, allegedly, r/DRS your GME has violated repeatedly, allegedly. The moderator code of conduct sets clear expectations for moderators on Reddit to create and maintain positive, engaging communities. It emphasizes the importance of upholding Reddit's content policy, setting community rules, and promoting a safe and supportive environment. The code includes the following key points: create, facilitate, and maintain a stable community. Moderators are responsible for establishing community rules aligned with Reddit's content policy and promoting positive engagement amongst users. They will never encourage or allow rule-breaking content or behavior. Set appropriate and reasonable expectations. Moderators should provide clear descriptions of their community's topics, properly label content, create explicit rules, and disclose unofficial affiliations with brands or companies if applicable. Respect your neighbors. Moderators should not use their communities to interfere with or harass other communities or users on Reddit. They should not incite targeted harassment or abuse, encouragement, content policy violations, or enabling rule-breaking behavior. I bet they're nudging them for this. Like, this is what they're claiming allegedly they did because DRS was talked about in other subreddits or some bullshit. That's my theory, right? I don't know. Again, I don't follow Because I'm also trying to just focus on GameStop, focus on my own life, focus on my own shit, right? I'm not following exactly what's happening, but I'm also curious. Like, I'm not saying I'm never gonna find out about these things. I'll figure it out when I figure it out, but I don't know exactly what's happening with Twitch. I don't know exactly what's happening with this whole Reddit blackout. I don't know exactly why they got removed, but this is what it seems like it could be, just looking from an outside perspective, if that makes sense. Be active and engaged. Moderators should actively and consistently manage their communities. Okay, I don't think you could get removed for that. The code also explains how enforcement actions may be taken if moderators violate the code, including warnings, account suspensions, removal from communities, and restrictions on privileges. The document concludes by providing moderator resources, including Mod Help Center, Communities for Moderators, and r/mod support, where moderators can seek assistance to discuss issues with Reddit administrators. In summary, the Moderator Code of Conduct outlines the expectations for moderators to create and maintain positive communities, respect Reddit's guidelines, and engage actively with users while providing resources to support their role as moderators. Okay, whatever, Reddit. I don't know. It is interesting timing right after the Ledger thing happens, but I mean, that doesn't change anything. We knew the count, so, and they didn't release names, and I don't think they would want to release names, right? That wouldn't be the right move to do, to just reveal people like that. But it's just interesting to see there truly is an individual with 1.2 million shares DRS'd. Because I remember there's a lot of speculations like, oh, is that real? Could that be faked in some way? But yeah. And then I wanted to show you from before. I got a stupid reply today. This is when you meet resistance going the right way. It's kind of true. It's kind of true. This is the way. Go back and like and reply to stuff later. But let's see. Let's go back to the roots. Yeah, I don't even know the reason. You guys are mad funny with the replies. I really love Twitter. Where was it? Just up, exactly. Damn it, I don't know. Somebody, it looked like a bot. That's why I wanted to mention it. And I don't want to just go looking through users. I wish I had some pulled up, but there's some weird accounts. Like I had, there's one thing today. Yeah, I'll try to show you guys real quick. Let me pull up OBS. And I don't know why this keeps going back to the same home picture. But oh, where's the GameStop? Yo, Negative Banana. Yo, shout out to this guy. What a homie. It's always here sometimes, and then on Twitter, just saying random stuff. I love people who are like unique, and Negative Banana just has like his own style, or like their own style of some kind. Like I don't know. I like people who have their own thing. Like Whoosh is cool because like this dude is just himself. Yeah, like he's just Whoosh is just doing Whoosh. So always be yourself. You know, I think always that's the coolest part about people or things or creators. I don't know, people that post stuff. So I completely lost my train of thought. What was I going to show? Oh, well, this was okay. Here we go. Boom. So this is what I want to show you. Look at this craziness. I mean, it's going to be backwards because of the camera. Somebody posted it. See, like this is, in my eyes, right? Opinion. Suspicious as fuck. Who makes this account unless you're trying to purposely shit on the GameStop name? Are people that crazy? Or is this a bad actor of some kind, right? This is what I wonder. And you can see it. Yep. It's a very bad individual who's done some very bad things and like literally one of the worst humans in like fucking history. Tweeting about GameStop. Game's the only stock. It's the best. All the other stocks. Hashtag inferior. Really? Like some fucking idiot is just really immature, or this is done with somebody with some. Also, it's somebody immature regardless, right? And then it's to put like a negative connotation around GameStop. And, oh, this is how these people that love GameStop stock are, and it's like get the fuck out of here. That is not what it is, and that's why I hate bots and like this crazy like sometimes I hate Twitter because of stuff like this, and it's just crazy that that's out there like that, right? Like I don't understand. And then was there one more Twitter post I wanted to show? Oh yeah, this okay. I want to pull this one up. Let's get back in business here. GME stock talk 2. Boom. Okay. What do you think about the DRS rate? Richard Newton thinks it might be a S curve, so it's taking a nap before more. Ken, honestly, I'm not too sure, right? I've really not talked about this too much lately because I feel like I'm not sure and I can't quite figure it out. I don't think anybody can right now, right? Because there's everything going on with DRS, right? There's plan that could allegedly be used in times of high demand. There's insiders buying. So you truly don't know, right? Like no, I think nobody even truly knows the exact places of all the shares. That's how crazy the financial system is, right? As a whole. So I don't think anybody truly knows, but I'm not like I feel like people are DRSing a little bit less just because the majority of people who want to send shares have already done it, and then now it's just people additionally buying shares. But then it's like, what is really going on with these planned shares? There was heat lamp theory, but it's like, okay, well now there wasn't because it's back to normal, like nothing happened. But was there something else, some other rhyme or reason? So I'm not even too sure what to think of the DRS count. I overall just think of it as these are guaranteed shareholders, and whatever there is of DRS, there's probably at least double of that. I think I'm sorry, not I think I feel like I know there's way more of that, which shares that are not in DRS, whether they can't, they choose not to. Like I have shares that are in my IRA; those are my personally for me, and everybody make your own decisions. I want to very much emphasize this before I'm saying this. My only shares not in computer share are shares in a traditional or Roth IRA. Every other share I purchase, I directly register. And most of my IRA shares are from IRA contributions I made a while back before I was like completely getting to DRS. And then also I was trying to contribute to my traditional IRA to become a little bit more favored in terms of taxes. And then I wanted to just start building that account with like S&P 500. So again, know thyself. But then I also was like, well, I want to put more of it into GameStop. So again, know thyself. But is it partly people slowing down? I'm not gonna lie, I think it's a little bit. But I also think there's just something weird going on. And does it have to do with plan? I mean, plan they can be loaned to Seed and Co, but how often is it actually happening? We don't know. But there's something called Ding and Co. I saw a post on it, but I can't even like find it again. And it's basically computer shares representative in the DTC, which they swap shares to from there. And by the way, I sold my plan. I didn't even look at my computer share in a while. I looked today, and my plan it got activated again with one share. I have to call them and be like, I don't want a plan. I don't want any plan. I don't. I got rid of my fractional to not have a plan. Right. So it's crazy. Just ignore all the fun. Seaton, thank you for being here. Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying when I say I'm not sure what's happening with it, or I'm not thinking people are de-wrestling as much. I'm not saying I don't think it's worth doing in any way. Like I'm still choosing to do that. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's hard to say exactly what's happening, and I still feel the best about my shares being there. Just seeing what can happen in a brokerage because of 2021. Because that's what you got to think about at the end of the day. That's really what it all boils down to, and why that became such a big thing. Because it's like what happened in 2021 was completely unprecedented. They could just turn off the buy button and just change the game when you're not on the right side of it. And this is like my favorite meme ever that I've made. Absolutely awesome. Keep buying and de-resting regardless. Exactly, Ken. Exactly. If that's what you're trying to do as an individual, that's what you got to do, right? And I think as a long-term investor, that's generally the best move to do. And either buying consistently or just buying whenever you see a nice dip. I feel like those are the best two ways to introduce yourself into a position long term. And that's kind of the same thing that I said, but it just depends on how you look at it. Whether you're doing it on an automated scale of some kind, like I know some people are doing automatic buys with computer share and plan, and then it's like, hey, wait a minute, I don't know if I want to be doing that because then they could be borrowed. So overall, what I started doing, or I only did one plan purchase originally to test computer share when I first got involved with it, And that's the only time I ever bought Plan. That's the only reason I even have Plan. Every other time I purchased on Fidelity, then I DRS. And again, that's just what's best for me. Good evening, DRS, the dirty, rotten Scourgels, Sir Voice. Thank you for being here. What up? What up? What do you think about anti-options being long-term FUD? DFV started with long-term calls. I see it as reserving a discounted price if you exercise. It's an interesting discussion. Ken, I think you're absolutely right. I think with options, a lot of it was like stay with options because there's a lot of people like, oh, just buy the farthest out call and just hodl it, right? That was a lot of the ideology. And also, I think we're at a point now where a lot of people do know thyself, right? They're not just blindly following things. Like shit has happened. Like Bed Bath has happened. AMC, the same play has happened. There's been the next big thing. All these stories, right? And people aren't stupid, right? Like I think the media treats individuals or talks like everybody's stupid, like especially financial media. But it's like people think and like observe, and the average person invested in GameStop now versus beginning of things, January 2021, and around that time, I feel like he's so much more educated. So anybody that wants to do options probably has more knowledge. And I don't think that's a terrible idea because I think the company is turning profitable. And obviously, I expect the price to be higher in a couple of years from now. And it seems like, we're finishing that transition stage. But with options, you're guessing a price, you're dealing with theta, you're dealing with various factors. So I don't think it's something, to completely move away from because then also you might be able to say, hey, wait a minute, well, why not just sell cash secured puts? Because a cash secured put, as I'm going on with my point here, I'll type it in here so anybody doesn't know can see it on the screen. Cash secured put definition. So basically, if you sell a cash secured put, then you can get a lower entry and then be collecting premium on the options. So if you're not sure about it, you can read it right here. So essentially, you sell the option, you keep the premium. If it's below the price you sell the option as, if it's a $20 put, then you purchase the shares at $20 a piece, and then you keep the option premium. And you would be doing that if the stock price is at what GameStop was at right now. And then if it's, let's say it closes at 23 at option expiry, you don't purchase the shares, but you keep the premium, and then you get the cash unlocked, and then you can use the cash to sell another future contract. And the reason that might be effective is because with GameStop, it's a volatile stock due to its illiquidity and just everything going on with it and just the name that it is. So when you have a lot of volume on a stock, that means the underlying options are generally going to be higher priced, and then you're going to have higher theta. And higher theta is better for option sellers because that means each day the price is going to go down more if the price were to theoretically stay sideways. So theta is 0.2. That means your option is theoretically going to go down 20 cents if the stock price were to move one day ahead and not move its stock price. Not move in stock price, but time were to pass and stock would move 0% for the day. But then theta would adjust the next day. And as it gets closer to expiration, theta rises. So if you're selling options, if you're selling a put on GameStop, you could collect a lot of premium. And if it never even gets to that point, right? Let's say it only closes at 22.50 and you sold a $20 put. Okay, no, you didn't buy the shares at $20 a piece like you maybe wanted, but you get that $2,000 underlying, and that's why you have to have a big cash balance to be doing this. I would if I could, if I had the kind of money to be doing this, because I would sell options, collect the premium, and then even if I don't exercise to buy the shares at 20 a piece, let's say I made $100 from selling the option. It was a $1 option, or $100, right? It's priced at $1. So it's 100 times 100 contracts. Then I could take that $100 and then turn around and just buy shares in the market with GameStop, and I could just keep selling options and keep using the premium I make to purchase shares to hold long term in DRS of GameStop. So I think there's absolutely something with options, but I want to very much say, like, you have to absolutely know what you're doing and have a great strategy and be 100% locked in on wanting to do that. So I think that's the big thing. In 2021, a lot of people, the average person in GameStop, wasn't educated enough on options and the markets as a whole to be making those kind of plays and making those kind of trades. But I feel like the spot we're in now, people know themselves. Either I'm gonna hodl and just be zen and keep up with what's going on, but I'm not trying to be too much in it. And then other people are like, okay, well, I understand the options chain. I know the kind of risks I want to take. I know what I want to do. I know my budget, etc. And then you could do it. So for me right now, with just buying shares here and there and trying to just finalize paying off my student debt, just moving into life and just build an emergency savings, all these small little things, right? I'm trying to just do all that. So for me, I'm not doing anything with options. It's just not where I want to be at right now. In the future, maybe. And if I do in the future, I generally see myself probably selling options, probably selling cash secured puts to get into positions. So just some of my thoughts there. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting discussion. And yeah, you're right. Options are not equal for everybody. I think you're absolutely right. And I'll be honest with you, I got burned on options when I was younger. So I used to mess with options even before I was supposed to be able to trade. Like I been trading, like trading, right? I don't know what I was doing since I was like 15 or 16, like with a custodial account, like my mom opened with me, just messing around. And I've said this before. I don't know who here has heard it, but I'll say it again. I was lucky at that time to be doing stupid stuff, like always messing in with options and just trying to catch the next big play and do the next big thing. I've tried crypto day trading. I tried regular day trading. I tried swing trading. I tried four leg option strategies. I tried Forex. I tried this. I tried that. I tried everything you could think of that's been thrown around out there, right? As the next thing or the get rich quick type of thing. Like I was trying it all and I was losing money. But I was only like in high school and early parts of college. So I didn't have real money to lose. You know what I mean? So I was just dabbling in things. So I'm fortunate enough to like be where I'm at now at a young age because I was always interested in all this stuff. And I got caught up chasing the shiny things. And GameStop really, like the journey GameStop took me on, woke me up to like, no, this is how investing works. And then this is trading, if that makes sense. So that's where my head's at. Because how I got involved with GameStop originally, a friend told me about it. I got to the fund and I was trading I made money on Palantir options. One of the biggest, first time I ever had a really good trade. I was like, oh my God, I know what I'm doing in January 2021. My friend's like, "Oh, GameStop's craziness, so much attention." I'm like, looking at social trends, everybody's searching it up. Like, let me just throw money at an option, throw a far out of the date option, and GameStop starts rising, rising. I'm like, oh my God, I want to sell it. It's up like a couple 100%, and then I had no day trades. I was like, are you fucking kidding me, Robinhood? So I couldn't sell it. I had to hold the next day. Elon Musk tweets after hours. Stock explodes. I sell it the next day and make an unfathomable amount of money. Ridiculous. But like an idiot, I keep going with options. I go, oh, it's going to keep going. And the next 2 months or so, up until March ish, I would say, with GameStop, maybe even April, I was, messing with options, trying to play options and other things. There's all kinds of volatility. There was days I was making so much money, losing so much, and it's just so stressful. And also, like, I truly wasn't even educated on it. And then just obviously I'm keeping up with GameStop the most, and I was still involved with GameStop the most, and I was still starting to buy shares at that point, just very minimally, but still dabbling in options. And this is the very, very beginning, and then I realized I'm like, no, and reading everything too, and understanding that it's about an investment in the long term, and seeing the narrative slowly shift towards it's not about the next big thing, it's about what they're doing in the long term. And I did kind of understand that from the beginning, but I didn't understand it the way I understand it now, if that makes sense. And this journey that GameStop's brought me on, I think it's opened a lot of people's eyes up to what investing is, and not everybody's journey is the same as mine, where they were messing around in all these crazy things. So maybe they got involved in options like, oh, well, this is a part of it. This is part of things because they got introduced from something else or some just being on Reddit, whatever it may be. So that's why it's important, know thyself and just, yeah, I don't know. I'm on a complete rant here, but but I feel like I've just learned a lot about myself and investing since I've started this channel. And I think it very much shows if you look back at the start of my channel, anything I originally put out. Like I used to say, oh, like we got this and that. And it was mostly just kind of just talk about out loud what was going on. Because my thought was like, I read about all this stuff on Superstock, but nobody's really like talking about this in video form, just talking about it out loud. So why not? Why not just start like talking about it? And yeah, so what do you think about the anti-options? Oh, I already said. Just got here. What's the GME meeting tomorrow about? Powerhouse, what up? Thank you for being here. Honestly, it's to be determined. We're gonna see what they talk about. I don't think we're gonna hear too much, honestly. I haven't even thought too hard about it. I'm just kind of like whatever we're gonna hear, but it's probably gonna be minimal. So we'll see. Why don't you think the price went up more after all these insider buys that just happened? Howdy, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. I think it's just the nature of the market, right? Stocks gonna go up, stocks gonna go down, and right now the company's at a place where The market is just pricing it where they have a good balance sheet and they're just on the edge of profitability, but they're still losing a little bit of money. So it's going to take profitability to really push them forwards. I think that's really what's holding them down right now. But you would think, it could push it up more, but the mechanics of the market are just a very complicated thing in itself. But I think it's still incredibly bullish because it also shows anybody betting against the company, or just shows the market, so to speak, in terms of just how it starts to price things in over time. If the price is below 20, it's very likely an insider is going to acquire shares, considering Larry Chang already bought shares earlier this year. Alan Adel and Larry Chang and Ryan Cohen all buy shares again in the same day after the earnings dip. And it was 2 days after the earnings report. So I believe that's the rule. If you report earnings, it has to be 2 days after. Yeah. So it was the second trading day after. And then even before that, I think it started recovering a little bit. So the market's always going to kind of do what it's going to do. But you know what I wanted to look at before I forget? The Teddy patents and G-America patents. G-America patent. All right. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Let me grab a pillow too. Get a little back support. Good evening, Tetron. What time is the meeting? And are you going to be broadcasting live? Chad, thank you for being here. Unfortunately not. I really wish I could broadcast live, but I will be at work, so I won't be able to. I'm just going to try and catch it on my phone. And I'm not even sure exactly what time. I was kind of saying a little before, I haven't even been keeping up with it too much. I'm gonna figure it out. Like, I'm not gonna just ignore it. I'm not saying that, but I haven't thought too hard about it because I feel like it's gonna be minimal, whatever we hear, just because they keep their cards close to their chest. But whatever comes out of it, I'm definitely excited to read more about GameStop. Where do you see the price going? Do you think it can hold its 25 level, or do you think we'll go below 20s again until next earnings? Howdy. Honestly, I could see it getting near 20 again, but I don't think it's really going to go. I mean, and I don't do TA or anything like that, so this is just random, right? Or just general thought process, thinking out loud how the market's pricing it in. I think it's probably not going to go below like 22, 23, because if it is, then the market's like, okay, well, it's very possible another insider buys shares and the price just moves up again, or just it kind of becomes a floor, so to speak. So I could see it sticking around in the low 20s and floating between here and up, maybe even near 30. I mean, I've seen people say like, oh, it could go to like this 30. I mean, I don't know. It's always just people's opinions, right? So I see it kind of just floating in this range right now, because if the insider buys didn't keep pushing it up, then I don't know. But at the same time, the market's always going to be the stock market, right? You never truly know. So it might be a situation where if you zoom out, like GameStop is still rising each day since their earnings, or still generally in an uptrend since this little dip it had. And then if you look before earnings, like on a greater zoomed out scale, it's still kind of chugging along upwards. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it go up near 30, honestly. But to see it really just blast through that, I don't know about that, So I'd be very surprised if we saw it at a 52-week low again, honestly. Very, very surprised. But I think a lot of people would just buy a lot of stock, and I think another insider or two would purchase shares, honestly. So we'll have to see. But yeah, when you zoom out, it's still in this little general uptrend since here, this uptrend since the earnings report that reported the profitable quarter. And then we had the negative report here and bounces right back. So we'll see. We'll see. GameStops and the markets are always going to do what they're going to do. GameStop patent filings. Let's see. Elliott Waveman says dip to 23, then 45. The old r/GME guy before Superstock. Yeah, I remember the Elliott Wave guy. I don't even, I don't know his username. I feel like everyone just knows him as like the Elliott Wave guy, but that's definitely interesting. Good to hear that, or just always good to know perspectives. So, okay, I want just a link to the website. Please have it here. Ah, beautiful. Confirm. Okay. Is this it? Let's see what we got. Okay, so this is case viewer. Okay, this is GameStop wallet. But it is interesting. Application, search server, all this stuff, amendment and mail process complete, whatever. Don't want to look through all that, bore you guys, but why now just on June 6th? What is OG publication confirmation? It's the mark identified above has been published in the trademark official gazette on publication date or shortly thereafter. They carefully review the information that appears in TMG accuracy. Significance of publication for opposition. Any party who believes it will be damaged by the registration of the mark may file a notion of opposition or extension of time thereafter. Trademark trial and appeal board. If no party files an opposition or extension request within 30 days after the publication date, then 11 weeks after the publication date, a certificate of registration should issue. Okay, I don't know if that's anything exactly, but what I want to look up is the Teddy ones as well, but I also want to look up G-America. I don't know if anybody has the link for that by any chance. That would be very clutch if you could swing it to me. Why is GME still so heavily shorted? I thought Wall Street bench hedgies were smart. Powerhouse, honestly, it's a game of the shorts versus the longs. And somebody asked before, like, well, hedge funds have so much power and leverage and just capital at stake or capable to use. Why not just close it? I think it's just also partly stubbornness. You think people that are in this game for a long time, they don't want to lose. They don't want to be wrong. This is their game, shorting company down. So, and I think they also, some of them just genuinely don't see it, just genuinely don't understand Web3 and everything they're trying to do, and just are caught up in the noise partly, and then also just kind of already in it. So they're in a short betting against it before all this started to happen. So they're also already just kind of biased to it going in. They're not open minded. So I think it's partly that, and then also they're just going to try and play the way up when inevitably it does go up. In my opinion, my humble opinion, it will go up inevitably, and when it does, they're going to play the way up with options and then going along on it. Right? That's how Wall Street plays the game. They ride it down, and then they ride it up. They ride it down, they ride it up. Whatever stock it is as a whole. That's generally speaking, that's how it goes. So it's kind of just some of my thoughts there. Because you're right. At the end of the day, they're not stupid. I mean, they're on Wall Street for a reason, right? But short sellers, as Ryan Cohen puts it, dumb stormtroopers of the galaxy. Searching trademarks. Let's see. Search our trademark database. How about it? This is very ancient. Submit query. Oh, okay. It came up. Let's fucking go. Filing date. Is there anything here? Let's go Teddy. Let's see. See, that's too general. Okay. Is it teddy.com? Okay, provision online marketplace for buyers and sellers of goods and services. Oh, my eyes are so dry. Published for opposition a while back. Last listed owners, Teddy Holdings LLC Limited Liability Company. See, now where do I get... Oh, this is so ancient. Additional information. If I just search this up. Oh, wait a minute. Boom. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Making progress. Hey, Xbit, what up? The man, the myth, the legend. That's right. What up? Good to see you here. So let's see. What's the latest? Oh, my contact's so dry. Crazy. They always dry out so much at the end of the day. Okay. Where is secondary? Standard characters, yes. Okay, but where do we get additional? Okay. Live application awaiting examination. Filed for use, current use, yes. Oh, wait a minute. I'm looking at the wrong thing, aren't I? Teddy.com. So it was filed for use, but it looks like it was amended. Okay, yeah. See, I have to come back more prepared with this next time, honestly, guys. But I know, who's posting on Twitter? Reverse draw for Uno. That guy. If Twitter wants to load. But it's just going to be, brick by brick with GameStop. I feel like, it's commonly said and whatnot, but it's just going to be how it goes, right? And it's going to be so many ups and downs. And each stream, like I'm streaming, and it feels like this is forever before the next earnings report, right? But before we know it, it'll be next earnings report. And we still have the shareholders meeting tomorrow, so that's always interesting to see what they're going to say or what's going to happen. I don't know. Someone was saying before if they can cancel the call. I don't think they can, but if they did, I mean, that'd be even like kind of even more hilarious and probably lead to a dip in the stock and then more buyers, right? Who was it? Reverse. Okay, there we go. What up, family? Abe, what up? Thank you for being here. Dude made bank on AMC. I just recovered all my AMC loss yesterday through GME. Hey, Powerhouse, I'm happy for you, man. Yeah, XBit was riding AMC in the beginning, and then he hopped out like a good man, just being like, nope, not involved in this. But also, just since I'm on Twitter and I got Twitter thoughts, you'll see these accounts, right? That'll say, oh, I'm only for GameStop, or I love GameStop. Or just, I hold both with like a million hashtags. GameStop, this stock, to the moon. There's so many accounts out there, and I feel like it's just to negatively, whether it's just individuals just also think AMC is a good stock and stuff like that, and Bed Bath and Beyond, whatever. But it's just anybody on the outside they can't even seriously consider GME because they just think, okay, well, it's just this cult like community. Some of them only love GME, but then some of them only, like they think of it as like a meme cult, right? Like then they're also like, oh, all these other stupid names. Like, I don't know. I couldn't even take GameStop seriously because, yeah, their insiders are buying, but look at all these other stupid names they're always talking about. And they think that just looking at the picture as a whole from outside within, and that's why there's always the narrative of the next play and like, oh, they're the same play, and that's why there's always these articles, in my opinion, right? There's always these articles and accounts with all these hashtags saying like, oh, GameStop and this one, and oh, Ryan Cohen Bed Bath, Ryan Cohen and Bed Bath, Ryan Cohen and Bed Bath. Like that has been endlessly like. Even, I can't believe the PP Clown show is still going. Honestly, I really can't. I mean, Bed Bath and Beyond, it literally says in their filings. It says in their filings, don't buy our stock. Basically, it basically says there's no like you should not buy our stock. So I don't know what people think there, but whatever. Going on these rants here, but yo, shout out to Reverse Draw for Uno. I feel like gets pretty good information out there about GameStop. It posted pretty well. Heads up, the Mark Robinson acquisition is tied to 24-month employee deferred benefit dispersal and counts as restricted stock with zero cost basis per his offer letter. See, that's exactly the kind of info I want to be having. Good looks, Reverse Draw for Uno. So you guys definitely check them out if you need some GameStop info. Reverse Draw for Uno. It's a Form 3, not a Form 4. These shares represent restricted stock units and restricted shares usually misrepresented by the issuer, including 75,932 restricted stock units which are scheduled to vest on various dates through July 1st, 2025. Okay, makes sense. He's got good with the memes too. But okay. Yeah, see GameStop player. Let's see if he has a link to it here. But yeah, that's what it is I was trying to look up. GameStop player. So yeah, and then accept stalking horse bid without auction from overstock.com. This would open shareholders up to large losses as no auction means no ability to drive up the price to pay off secured and unsecured assets completely. Yeah, I don't think people realize like bondholders literally get paid before the stockholders in a bankruptcy. Like that's like okay, whatever. I'm not trying to trash anybody for being another company, but it's just the idea of like there's always this one account I always see like GME times BBBY equals G America, and it's a picture of like Ryan Cohen as a superhero, and it's like like no, it literally makes no fucking sense. They're not merging with Bed Bath and Beyond. Like that makes zero sense, and they're literally in bankruptcy, stocking horsemen. Like, oh my god. All right, going on and on and on here. But it's XBit. XBit always gets me going about AMC and Bed Bath and Beyond. I just see XBit and I'm like, all right, XBit knows what's up. But let's see the G America patent. Oh no, not G America. Fuck. GameStop player patent. I think it's GameStop player. Let's see if we can get it here. Oh, let's see. See, we got a lot of different stuff there. Downloadable computer software for multiplayer and collaborative gaming and esports. Downloadable computer software for broadcasting and electronic transmission of digital media content for gaming. Downloadable computer software for gaming and esports competitions. Downloadable video game programs. Downloadable computer software for streaming gaming content and esports content. Computer game programs downloadable via the internet. Downloadable computer game software for use on computers, smartphones, tablets, and smart televisions. Very interesting. So across all devices. Computer games launcher software for computers, smartphones, tablet computers, smart televisions, and namely software for accessing, viewing, and playing games. Fucking love it. Streaming of audio, visual, and audio-visual material in the nature of gaming and esports content via a global computer network. Let's fucking go. Love to see it. Hey Tet, on a scale of bullish to fucking bullish, how bullish are you for tomorrow? Abe, I'm bullish out of this park. You know what I mean? I'm fucking bullish. You know what I'm saying? Like crazy. But nah, who knows what's gonna happen tomorrow, right? Honestly, I don't expect much. I'm just like whatever. It's just another day, and I just love this journey. So it literally is like let's just see what happens. But I'm always bullish. That's my secret. I'm always bullish. Reddit board has been taken over, and Reddit is now repurposed for paying off Apollo's debt. Possibly, expert. I don't know. I mean, r/DRS your GME. Phew, gone. Right? I could. You know what's funny? I couldn't even remember the name of the subreddit. I kept thinking it was r/DRS your DRS GME, and that's just some subreddit with like 50 people. I was like, didn't actually become a subreddit. It was just like 2 posts, an old thing. But now I remember the name because they banned it. So they almost made it more relevant, and they made me tweet about it. So I think it almost is like the Streisand effect, like the Barbara Streisand effect, where it's like, nobody look here. So hopefully it has that effect and make more people interested. But at the same time, there's still DRS your GME website and other sources, and I don't think you can stop those guys. I think they're going to keep talking about what they're going to talk about, and that's the coolest part about the whole GameStop saga to me. There's so many individuals. Everybody, I don't want to say has their role, but everybody is themselves or has their own like unique aspects. Like their thing's like huge on DRS. Like my thing is just talking out loud and theorizing about the company. Morance's thing is getting deep into the company, getting deep into private equity, connecting the dots, right? Awesome live streams, things like that. And then you had like the Lightning Warrior, who's kind of a gamer himself, a little bit of a hype man, just covering the situation in his own style. Then you have Richard Newton, you got a math teacher covering it number by number, giving his whole perspective on the situation. So it's all different people, all different walks of life, and all different perspectives. So that's one of the coolest things to me about everything. And GameStop Player is going to bring a lot of people together, and I'll have the opportunity to like game with you guys, right? People watching this, that would be awesome. So it's exciting. Let's go. They think Ryan is capped. Save a hoe is, but in all honesty, the potential GameStop had, yeah. No, I thought you were talking Sue Ho. I thought you were talking like Sue Grove. I don't know, but I always said saving, like them being saved by GameStop's the only potential they had, but GameStop's not going to do that. And oh, let's look at all the people who say GME is dead because gamers are all downloaded can suck my nucks. Exactly. Um, so entertainment services, namely providing online games. Entertainment services, namely providing temporary use of non-downloadable computer games, providing non-downloadable software for playing games and esports, providing a website portal for users to play computer and electronic games and share game enhancements and game strategies, providing a website portal featuring information and content in the field of video game players, gaming, and esports, providing a website portal for featuring tournaments and competitions in the gaming and esports fields. So that would be cool if also people could do a thing where it's like, oh, like group of us versus a group of you, and like let's let every player put up one loop ring, and then the winning team gets it, or the GameStop gets a cut, or something like that. I don't know. It's just fun stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't know if you want to encourage like gambling on the platform, but it's something out there, right? And people might be interested. Oh, it's just a random idea, but it's all. The cool part is GameStop launching this GameStop player, this client, or seems like a downloadable client, right? Similar to like a kind of um, Epic Games, Steam, Riot, excuse me, something like that. So it'll be interesting. And then it's also seeming like it's going to include streaming. That's basically what they're saying here, and esports. So very exciting to see how it actually all gets tied together. This seems to be what's really tying a knot on the strings of everything that's attached. And I was saying earlier in the stream, it's to me like vertical integration. And I think the company is trying to vertically integrate with GameStop Player by tying everything together and then vertically integrate everything digitally and then just tie together in-store experiences and online experiences by having GameStop players saying, hey, come to the store for this, come to a GameStop location for that. We're running this tournament on this day, whatever it may be, right? Depending how fast they evolve the stores, become more like Milan, Italy stores, which was I'm thinking is happening over time. And then on top of it, in stores, they could be, hey, we have our client now, take this free digital asset in a new game on the client that just launched right upon launching of GameStop Player itself. So all these different things are some things that may happen. Providing a website featuring temporary use of non-downloadable software for management of personal computer game software, providing temporary use of non-downloadable software for streaming game videos to others, platform as a service, featuring computer software for online multiplayer gaming, providing online non-downloadable software as a service, all features, reading too fast, all featuring software for broadcasting, transmitting, receiving, accessing, uploading, downloading, integrating, displaying, organizing, storing, transferring, and streaming of data, text, games, digital media, images, music, animation, audio, software as a service, services featuring software that enables users to broadcast and view live gameplay, providing online, non-downloadable software that enables users to search for. Okay, you guys get the idea, but what I'll do here is, just for the sake of it, I'll do summarize on ChatGPT. Give me a short and sweet summary, please. Got to be nice to the robot guys. They might take over one day. So in case they do, I want them to get in touch with ChatGPT and be like, oh, okay, Tetron has always been cool to us. Like, he's asked politely for anything he needed. So got to be nice to the robots. Okay, let's see. Downloadable computer software for collaborative gaming, broadcasting. Give me a shorter summary without bullet points. See, this is also, I'm just doing this to show you guys, like, you can just always tell ChatGPT to tell you in a different way, explain a different way, add more, regenerate response. The description pertains to goods and services related to gaming and esports. It includes downloadable software for multiplayer gaming, broadcasting and streaming gaming content, and accessing games on different devices. It also covers entertainment services like online games, temporary use of non-downloadable computer games, meaning within the client itself without having to download the game. I think that's cool. That's lower barrier to entry. Someone might just be going by and be like, oh, well, I could just try it right here without actually downloading it. Just connect my wallet. I'm just right in. That's a lower barrier to entry, gets people more curious about trying different games. So I think that's interesting, if that's what it means. And platforms for sharing game enhancements and strategies, meaning like just probably community aspect, communicating. And I think this is where the NFT marketplace can grow massively, because then all of a sudden the marketplace is within GameStop Player, and they're facilitating all these transactions and just taking a little bit each time. And it's so funny when you see these like other people have no idea what's really going on with GameStop. So their NFT ventures, you saw how that worked out. I don't know about this Ryan Cohen guy. It's digital assets, and it's not what you think it is. It's not pictures of monkeys. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, and I don't even try and explain it to people. People just don't get it, and it's not the average person's fault, right? It's the nature of the world we're in. Additionally, involves services related to streaming gaming content, managing personal computer game software, and facilitating transactions on blockchain networks. So I think that's a pretty good summary. And the reason I like doing this is what this is to me as an assistant, right? So I'm like asking my assistant, hey, what do you think of this? What are your thoughts? And this is how ChatGPT has described it in short. So I just think that's kind of an interesting perspective. And based on what I read as a whole, I'd say it's a fair summary. Doesn't, it's always not going to be perfect. Then you can always regenerate it and see what it says this time, just for curiosity's sake. Bravo, GameStop, this is what we've been waiting for. Yeah, I've already been IP banned from ChatGPT. Damn, X-Fan, I don't know what you've been asking or what you've been saying, but it's probably like AMC is fucking garbage or something like that. And they're like, oh, get out of here. Can't be saying that. But here's another version if you're curious. The description covers downloadable computer software for multiplayer gaming, broadcasting of gaming content, and streaming of gaming and esports content. It also includes entertainment services like online games, temporary use of non-downloadable computer games, and website portals for gaming. Additionally, it involves services related to managing personal computer game software, streaming game videos, and online platforms for broadcasting, accessing, and transacting with gaming-related digital assets. So, good little summaries there. A couple assistant answers. But I think the last thing I want to look at for today is volume. So, yeah, I was kind of talking about stock being a liquid, but we had this little pump in volume, obviously, with everything going on. News of Ryan Cohen here, even though all the insider buying was actually on this date. So, it's kind of interesting that's not even the date with the most volume. So, it's never really predictable with the volume. I mean, obviously, in times of being in the news and just more people talking about it, there's going to be more traders, more hedge funds getting in and out, whatever it may be. So there's going to be volume. But I find it interesting that the purchase date by three of the six board members is not even the largest single volume day we've had in the past couple weeks with everything going on. So that's definitely interesting. We might kind of continue to see volume for a while, but then it'll kind of probably trail off to be in this volume range like we saw right here as it was, just because it's generally liquid. And I feel like even taking away DRS, a lot of people are just buying and holding, right? They're just like the stock. So as it happens more and more over time, there's just less and less shares available to trade, right? Theoretically, of course. But then you look deeper and you think about everything that's gone on with the stock as a whole and the alleged things that could be happening. And then, again, like I was saying before, that's all icing on the cake to me as that bubbles to the surface inevitably if the company succeeds. So all the company has to do is succeed, and anything suspicious, potentially underlying or heavy short interest that might not be visible to the public that's allegedly there, just bubble up right to the surface, right? Just because as they're successful, it's hard to bet against a company that's making money, and then you want to keep the stock price low forever. If it is somehow, they say, okay, we have a lot of cash, we're stacking cash, we'll just start buying back stock, and that's an extremely bullish thing. So I'm excited to see that. And you also have to keep in mind pre-stock dividend, pre-stock split. This is still only like 2 million pre-stock dividend, pre-stock split. And remember, it was like common. There was always like 5 million shares traded for GameStop around then. And funny enough, that was with like 70 million something shares outstanding. Now we're at like, what, just over 300 off the top of my head? I forget. Yeah, just about 305. Because, yeah, 75. It was like 76 million, 76.5 times 4, which gives you about 305 million. So, yeah. Expert was sending dong pics. Damn, Sir Moise, you exchange dong pics with the robot? What does the robot's dong look like? I mean, don't send it to me. I don't want to be banned, but I'm guessing I asked ChatGPT to write me too many algos, or it's because I downloaded too many legal movies. Damn, Sir Moise, cooking you out here, but Yeah, nah, that's funny though. But yeah, you can use Bard, you can use whatever the next one is. Imagine there's like GameStop AI and the GameStop player. I think that'd be kind of creepy, but I mean, is it impossible? I don't think so, but I don't think that's something to get add. But it'd be kind of funny in a way. And then there'd definitely be people just like, tell me about the stock. The best was when I was doing Chat GPT, where without even like paying for it, where you have the version where it just pulls from the internet live. It's like a delayed version. Bard is live, but I don't know. I just kind of like that ChatGPT saves it. I personally prefer it. And again, I only use it for like minimal stuff like this. I'm not like on it 24/7. You know, it's just a tool. It's just a tool, like anything else, right? And some people think, oh, it's just gonna like take over. I'm like, no, I don't think it's like that. It's more like a tool, and just a lot of times I'll do like grammar correct this, like if I'm doing a tweet or an email or something like that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all for today. Damn, just got home and you're still streaming? Beast. Ryan, you know what's up, man. You know what's up. But I was actually, it's funny enough, as you said, I was probably just about to wrap it up. But with Tesla, can do something with GME, like for gaming. Namac, what up? Thank you for being here. I think, funny you bring up Tesla. Tesla is an example of a vertically integrated company. They're doing everything from within. They keep trying to simplify, just improve margins and improve the business as a whole, and then just forwards and then carry those improvements into wherever they're growing. And I feel like GameStop has a little bit of the same ideology, but obviously a completely different industry. And the way Tesla is trying to, and I think they're very successfully revolutionizing the automobile industry. If you look at Ford and GM, they actually made deals with Tesla that their cars are going to be integratable with Tesla's charging network. That's a huge advantage to Tesla, and to me just shows how far they are ahead in the industry. And Ford is literally selling, as far as I'm aware, and speaking to my coworker who's very familiar with Tesla, he was telling me, he's like, and I looked at it, I checked it, and it was true. Ford is basically selling their EVs for a loss right now just to compete with Tesla's pricing, because they can't even keep up with it because they're so far behind in the game in terms of production and just operating efficiently and creating the EVs. It costs so much to produce a car and then sell it with their traditional model. Tesla's just killing them in terms of margins. So also they're just behind in the technology itself, hence why they just decided, okay, let's just partner with Tesla's charging network. You think Ford and GM want to do that? Absolutely not. I feel like they had to. They were backed in a corner. It's the only way they can even relatively keep up. So just something interesting to think about. And if GameStop's going that route with gaming and everything going towards Web3, I think it's going to take a long time for Web3 as a whole to be adopted in gaming, because there's definitely gamers that are like, ugh, NFTs, what the heck? Keep that out of games. That's stupid as fuck. But they just don't understand, right? If you just saw it's like, oh, it's just an asset, and then you just own it, and then you just trade. You just don't. They just don't understand it. It's also just what you hear, what you see. It all is relative, right, to the individual. So just something to think about. Yeah. So bringing up Tesla. But Tesla does have in-vehicle games. That is true, though. Yes, Xbit is correct. Ford's Lightnings are burning down, too. Yikes, Tesla is definitely way ahead. I think you're exactly right, AMAC. 100%. Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about, like, the automobile industry, but Tesla is an incredible story. And I think Elon, he's controversial. I mean, I don't think he's even that controversial. I think he's made out to be more controversial than he is, but Elon's going to be Elon, right? And I think if you take opinions out of it, he's undoubtedly an excellent businessman. Look at where he's at. Look at the company he's been a part of, from PayPal to uh, totally blanking out. Boring Company. Solar City used to be an old one, but then that integrated with Tesla because solar panels, very, very, very tiny part of their business now, but whatever. And by the way, he gets sued for that too, which was funny because I don't know. That's a whole thing too. I'm not gonna speak out what I don't know, but undoubtedly, he's a good businessman. He's made a lot of money, and I see Tesla being worth a couple trillion in market cap, inevitably, and eventually becoming the largest company in the world. That's my theory. And they have a strong balance sheet from just an overview, but take everything what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I'm not in touch with Tesla the way I am with GameStop, so I'm just speaking out loud here, and I'm just calling it how I see it. And I've followed Tesla stock for a long time, and I remember when it was completely outdated. Remember I said I used to trade things and whatnot and be involved in things? Like I used to mess around with Tesla here and there, like when in high school, And I remember it was always like, oh, can it break out of this like $300 mark? And now it's at $300 again, two splits later. I was looking at it then, and I'm like, damn, if I had bought some shares. And I was very fortunate enough where I talked to my mom, and she bought like a tiny stake in Tesla. And I was like, listen, it's an opportunity here. If you want to put this small bit, put a very small bit. And it's up a lot, right? And I sold most of it, honestly, where we work together. It sold most of it pretty much. She made significant money in her IRA, made her serious returns, and now she still has it because it's split so many times. Everything that's remaining, literally the cost basis of the remaining shares is like under 100. So it's worked out very well. And just seeing what Tesla's done, I think GameStop's going to do it on steroids and on a longer period of time. And then Tesla's, still doing a lot too. So yeah, I don't know. And it's crazy. They just broke their 14 straight session win streak. They literally jinxed it by putting this article, and then it went negative today. But I mean, I think it's also because of the Fed meeting and everything. But let's see. Elon raised hundreds of millions, and people still waiting on the truck. LOL, one of them. Yeah, exactly. And like that's the thing too with Elon, though. And that's why some people are like, oh, this guy, he's always. I remember he used to say like his bold predictions in like 20. I remember he used to say like, oh, self-driving vehicles will be on the road by like 2021 or something like that. So he's definitely has some way out there predictions, but you also have to realize with a guy like Elon and people like bash him when he doesn't say things like the right type of way and stuff like that. I genuinely think he's so smart, or his brain, and he just operates so differently as a human that things like that are just not even like he's not even concerned about like I don't give a fuck what people think. He's busy just trying to like make cars and fly rockets. You know what I mean? Like he's so his brain is so surrounded and crowded with that. He's like, I'm supposed to properly say this. Like he's like, what? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I just feel like he just works differently. That's why you see his interviews. He's like, well, I'd put it this way. Like he just does stuff like that. So I've always admired how he's unapologetically himself. So I'm not gonna lie, I think he's a good guy, and I like him, and I don't like to even worry about too much what he says, like politically or whatever. I think Elon can just do Elon, and I like him very much as a businessman. So I'll leave it there. Who do you think GameStop's direct rival? OpenSea? I don't know if I'd say OpenSea, honestly, XBit. I feel like just Amazon and in gaming, just any other game client now, or anyone who tries to move into Web3, and I think game clients in general. I mean, that kind of makes sense, right? Because if they're launching a game client and then they're launching streaming, then they're kind of competing with Twitch in a way, right? And like I was saying before a little bit, this is great timing with everything happening with Twitch. It's like, okay, well, you guys want to shoot yourself in the foot. And again, I don't know exactly what's going on there. I just know they're basically hurting their creators and just doesn't seem like they're benefiting anybody to come on there in any which way. They're just shooting themselves in the foot, especially as increased competition is already starting with platforms like Rumble, Kick. I think there's another one I can't remember. And then if GameStop's about to launch streaming within GameStop Player, that's another competitor out there. So good timing for GameStop if Twitch is going to continue to shoot themselves in the foot and just soil their name. And you have guys like Ninja tweeting about it even, and that's like a huge name, right? So you've already had a lot of creators who've left Twitch. Like one random one I think of is like Dr. Disrespect. And by the way, Dr. Disrespect has tweeted about Web3 being a part of the future of gaming. So I always thought it'd be super cool if GameStop signed personalities like him to be involved with with the platform and be branded with like by GameStop or be sponsored by GameStop, an official partner. I mean, that might cost them a lot of money. I don't know. They have to evaluate that, but that's huge. Anybody who watches him or watches like a particular streamer, if they endorse a brand, that's a massive, massive marketing move. Especially if someone like him was like, "Yeah, I like Web3 already." He's very personable, right? When I say personal, he's such a unique personality. I think it's awesome. And I was saying very start of the stream, I like people with a unique personality, people who are unapologetically themselves, and that's why I really love Ryan Cohen too. He's just himself. So, yeah. When Moon, when Lambo, Sean Annan, you're back. I don't know. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Not soon enough for you. That's what it seems like. That's what it seems like. But what is your profile picture? A man with a mustache peeking between the curtains? Is that you looking for your Lambo? I don't know. Um, but yeah, and Namac got a little alien in the chat. Are the aliens real? I don't even know with all that stuff. It's crazy. The Las Vegas things. It's like, yes, yes. There's two figures in my yard. There are two figures in my yard. They're really tall. One's in the boat. Like, I don't know. It's too suspicious to me. And if there's aliens here, they're probably already here. We're not gonna know. I don't. You know what I'm saying? It's all fugazi, it's awazi, it's woozy. I try so hard not to pay attention to the news. Try so hard, but when you're on Twitter and you're trying to stay just in general in the world, I want to stay in touch with things, but I don't want to read the news. So I try and minimal too. I found I was talking about before. It's like self care is important. I'm really trying to work on that, and then just knowing thyself and like, okay, I need a break. So literally just go outside, like without your phone. Like maybe for someone watching this, you're like, yo, Tetron, you never fucking do that. What's wrong with you stupid kids these days? But a lot of people my age, like it's genuinely glued to you. And like I try to remember, like, okay, I need to just go outside, like look at the fucking bird fly by and just go, like, just breathe air and just be in the outdoors and just, like my ancestors 300 years ago, just do nothing for a few seconds, whereas we live in a world now that's like fast, 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 fast. And I want to be up with it fast, 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 keep up and know every little detail. But then it's also like you have to find those moments to digress and just reset so you can come back strong and keep up with the pace. That's kind of what I've found. So just ranting here. When cocaine and hookers, Sean Annan, I do not advocate for that. I'm sorry. I don't think that's a very good thing. You shouldn't be involved in that. When poor for the rest of our lives. Exactly. It's all fake. Sean Annan, wish you the best of luck, brother. I wish you the best of luck with whatever your investing endeavors are. But I do appreciate that you always come back to watch Tetron live, so that's much appreciated. But yeah, so that's all for today, guys. And also, don't just look at AMC. You look at Bed Bath and Bankrupt and all these other names over the next play. Put them on a chart against GameStop year to date. See where they're at. And put any company that's losing money versus a company that is with a strong balance sheet and maybe GameStop's not making money yet, but near making money. Or just put relatively any company in good financial standing versus not good financial standing. You put them next to each other year to date, I guarantee the one in better financial standing is performing significantly better, and more likely than not, the one that is not doing well financially, or in terms of just having a good balance sheet and potentially just spending a lot of cash excessively for no reason, or whatever it may be, they're just not holding up the same now because a strong balance sheet is so important in a high interest rate environment. You don't want to take on debt. You don't want to have to issue stock. So that's why turning a profit is really, to me, the big X factor right now for GameStop and really will drive them forwards and just ultimately make people take the company seriously. So I think GameStop players going to take them there. How fast, how slow, I don't know. But thank you so much for watching Tetron Live. Oh, let's see one more chat. Weird that leaks about us having alien technology come out when we're on the brink of going to war. Exactly, Sir Moist. There's so much going on out there right now. I feel like there's so many crazy things in the news. Like, there's always been so much craziness in the news, right? Forever and always. But I feel like especially in the past like several years, it's really picked up. So it's like, what is really the most important thing that all these other things like aliens are being thrown in there so that people don't actually see the important thing, right? That's kind of what it seems like. But it's funny, mainstream media is slowly dying in a way, and it's just really power to the creators and just individuals like myself that are like, screw this. People don't actually talk about this accurate on TV. I'm gonna go on YouTube and talk about it myself as best I can. And then more and more people decide to do that, and less people just view the news and just watch mainstream CNBC or Fox or CBS or ABC, any of that, right? It's just slowly going to the individual. So thanks so much for watching. Have a good night.